Hey there, welcome to Naija Kamasi and I'm your girl Kamasi. Thank you so much for tapping on this video. If you did not get a chance to check out my first video after watching this one, liking and subscribing, please remember to do so. Now, in this video, we'll be talking about shadow work, the pros and cons, and how exactly it is done. So first, let me define it. My definition of shadow work is healing your shadow self. Now, your shadow self is the aspects of yourself that you try to hide, right? So you're going to be doing past trauma, the emotions that you try to bury, fears, greed, lust, insecurities, and your addictions, right? Those are the basic topics. A number of subtopics will fall under, but we're just giving the basics. So for me, there are two A's in shadow work: acknowledging and accepting. Without those two A's, it doesn't make any sense. So first, you have to acknowledge that there's a problem, right? It is there, you need to accept it. Now, acknowledging and accepting are the two hardest parts of shadow work, resulting in not a lot of persons trying to start because it's the area of shadow work that makes you feel like you're inhumane. As humans, a lot of us find it hard to forgive ourselves for making silly mistakes, but that's the human aspect of us, and we cannot change that. So after acknowledging that something is there, that you have a problem that you need to sort out because for some reason maybe it's messing with your energy or your vibration, you then go to accept that it's there. So you acknowledge, then you accept it. Now, accepting does not mean that you're gonna say, okay, I deserve for this to happen to me, or I put, sometimes we do put ourselves in positions, but what's done cannot be undone, and to each his own. So you accept it. Alright, I went here and I broke my leg. Don't say I didn't have to break my leg if I didn't go there. You already go. So I went there and I broke my leg, right? You accept it. So first let me state that shadow work can be very, 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 very intense. You have to have an open mind, you have to be courageous, and you have to remember to move at your own pace. A lot of persons try to rush the process, resulting in them skipping over a few blocks in building that foundation of finding peace and happiness. And when they reach the top, they realize that there are a lot of holes, right? So it's all about accepting that it will be hard. Now, when you do this, for example, you brace yourself for 100%. So even if it's at a 50, it's easier for you because you're already expecting it to be 100% hard. No, not everybody has to do this, but I would recommend it. It can be scary, and there are cases where, and there are chances where you find yourself blaming yourself. So yeah, you have to remember that you're human and remind yourself that you're human and we all make mistakes. And as I said before, to each his own, what's done cannot be undone, right? So those are the things that you should keep in mind when doing shadow work. I already said that I'm using natural lighting, so if you see it going and coming, that's it. Now, I highly recommend it is journaling. A lot of persons do journaling. Journaling is very important. Now, when doing journaling, you can buy incense so that you can burn or candles to let the environment feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more calming or soothing. If you don't really like candles, you can use some relaxation or meditation music. That's highly recommended. It's recommended that you be in your own space at that time, by yourself, of course. You're in a calm and welcoming environment. You're as at peace as you can be. That's recommended because you need a clear mind, right? Because as I said, it's a lot of reflecting and you need a time and a space. It's basically you mirroring yourself, so you need a time and a space to do that, right? So when you have a journal, what you can do is you can write down the things and the people that hurt you, how they hurt you, their actions directly and indirectly. Because guess what? A lot of persons don't realize that the simple things that they do hurt us because everybody's perspective of life is different and we understand and we acknowledge things from a different perspective, right? Meaning I might say something to somebody and they don't find it offensive, and I might say to you and you find it offensive, this mosquito, and you find it offensive, right? So a number of times, not all of the times, persons don't hurt us directly. So we need to bear that in mind. In addition to that, you should also write down the things and the person that you have hurt. Because shadow work is not a one-side healing, right? You need to forgive yourself and others need to as well, right? So that's shadow work. Now, after writing them down, what you can do, because a number of persons aren't in an environment where their notes are considered safe. So after writing them down and taking the time to see how this has affected your life and how these triggers are related, because a lot of times we think that we have buried our emotions or buried things, and in the long run we realize that, okay, I got so angry and upset today because of something that happened 10 years ago. So we need to learn our triggers. So in writing those down, you can write what actions of individuals or when you're in an environment or who you're around when you are triggered, right? The energy and the vibration that's there. That's very important. And that is one of the most, what I say, that's the foundation of shadow work. So you say after writing them down, and of course accepting and acknowledging that something went wrong along the way, you can take however long you want. A lot of persons will say take a month. It's not up to that. That's not what it's about. It's about taking your own time, moving at your own pace to heal. So you write them down, you reflect on them. Each day or each other day, you try your best to work through one of them. So after writing down your triggers, right? Sometimes it's a case where you need to go back in that same environment to actually pinpoint what it is that is causing you to have a trigger. Because sometimes our triggers are so broad and the things that affect us are so big that we overlook the small things. And it's the small things. It's always the small things. Because you need small things to make big things. So it's always the small things. So what you can do is you take your time and go in that environment and figure out exactly what it is that is triggering you. Don't write down 10 of them and try to do all 10 of them that you wrote in your journal. You will get exhausted and discouraged and you'll want to stop. Now, when doing shadow work, 1 and 2 times you'll feel like you want to shut down because, as I said, sometimes you have to resurrect trauma or emotions from 10 years ago, 11 years ago, because they're still affecting you and you're trying to put them in your subconscious, which is not working, right? So it will get frustrating at times, and at times you feel like stopping. Now, this is when the things are that need to be rooted up are really being rooted up. So they always say, after a storm comes a calm. This is one of the cases. Don't watch my hair strands. They're doing their own thing. So this is one of the cases. So if you've written them down, you're acknowledging and you're accepting and you're taking your time to make the steps, to take the steps rather, to do what needs to be done, you're on the right path. Now, if it's a case where you already know what you're going to work on and you wrote down your notes and it's extremely hard for you to keep your notes safe, what you can do is you burn them and release it into the air, to the universe. And if you're a person that's big on universe, you know what is manifesting and how it works. So with that, you have to be careful. Now, some persons use magic, or what we call magic, during shadow work. I will not be telling you about that because that's a whole different story, and there are a lot more pros and cons to doing that than the eye can behold, right? So after you do what you need to do and you accept and you acknowledge and you're working on it, each thing that you do, each accomplishment, you try your best to reward yourself. Not going out or anything like that, but you try your best to acknowledge that you have done something good, you have made a step. It doesn't have to be an extra large step or a big step or any of those things. Small steps count, and that's what this channel is about. Small steps count. So you're going to release emotions. One at a time, you release each emotion. You look at the reasons why you can no longer stay angry. Look at the reasons why you can no longer be upset or bothered. You are doing this for you. You are being the bigger person in this for you. You are not thinking about anybody else but you because you're working on you to be a better version of you. So yes. So you're going to release the emotions one at a time. There are instances where we don't want to feel like we're going to be the bigger person because we're tired of being the bigger persons, but in this case we cannot look at it that way. Because here what? We're working on ourselves and we need to better ourselves. We cannot let it be a case where those persons that hurt us are out there having a good time and we're here slobbing or crying over things that they did. And they're having a good time. That don't make no sense. No sense that don't make. Right? So each time you release your emotions, your vibration and your vibration and your energy will increase. Now your vibration and your energy contributes a whole lot to your peace and your happiness. Right? This mosquito. Your peace and your happiness. And that's what's important. Now, you have to be calm while doing this shadow work because it's a journey. it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is not a 100 meter. Because even after doing shadow work and feeling like you have completed shadow work, you will every now and again get triggers. Only thing is that this time you'll be more capable to deal with these triggers. You know what to do, what not to do, and what will offset the triggers worse, right? As I said before, there may be cases where you have to shut down, you have to take a break, because uprooting those traumas are very hard. You know, we're going to be releasing things in the atmosphere which we try to bury, which we try to sit on, we try to build a house on, and the house tumbled or crumbled or whichever one of the words, right? So yes, that's the basics. So when doing shadow work, as I said before, work at your own pace. If there is somebody that you can talk to about your addictions, because our addictions are sometimes so very personal that we cannot tell anybody, you can write it down and you can release it. Your fears, your insecurities, find out why you're afraid. Why greed isn't always bad. I was gonna say greed. Greed isn't always bad. So why you are afraid, and why you can no longer be afraid. What's fear is stopping you from doing, how great fear is stopping you from being, right? As I said, you have to be very open-minded, because you realize that during this time a lot of things that you thought were are not. So you have to change the perspective, and it is very hard for us to unlearn a number of things, because once we learn something and we feel that it's right, we tend to like stick to the script, to say, all right, this is it, and I'm going to stick to our routine. And a lot of time our routines and our habits keep us from going. We cannot do what we've been doing for the last 10 years. We have not seen any growth, but we still expect to grow by doing it in a different year, a different time, a different day, a different season, and a different mindset. Now, the mindset is very important, but we have to understand that we need to grow and we need to move on, and we can't do the same thing that we have always done. Shadowing yourself, as I said, is not easy. Pace yourself. Take the time that you need for yourself. If you find out your own negative energy and you need to move, please do so. It's not about who we've known the longest, or who, I don't want to say who we've known the longest, because sometimes people do a lot of things for us and we don't want to leave because of loyalty. But if we realize that we're going to always be in a cave, then you cannot stay there, because you won't grow and you'll be sabotaging yourself and the potential that's within you. We're not going to talk about the person that believes in us, because even if people believe in us and we don't believe in ourselves, we still don't do anything, and that's just a fact, right? It can be scary, as I said before, because you'll be looking at things that you try to hide. Those who are victims of like sexual assault, they know exactly that it will be very hard, because you're going to look at it and say, all right, I shouldn't be talking about this, I shouldn't be doing this, because I might not be able to sleep at night. But you have to release yourself. You have to release those demons in you. You have to release those energies. Now, sometimes it feels very good to be stuck in that energy, because we feel like we belong there, we deserve to be there, because we did a lot of bad stuff, or because they put ourselves in a lot of bad situations. So we believe that you don't deserve to be there. You're growing, and you need to let those baggages go, right? So we're at the end of the video. Hopefully in our next video I'll be able to update you more on shadow work, as this channel is all about growth. So we'll be starting from scratch. So this is a from scratch video. I think I should name this a chit chat, seeing that I talk so much in it. So yeah, so please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend, hit the notification bell, and check out my first video if you didn't get a chance to do so. Continue to have a lovely day, a lovely month, a lovely year, and a prosperous future. See you next time.